Good day, Coach George. Hi, my name is Marius Ayokanya, the little teacher of Study Hub 2. I will be first reporting for our topic, facilitating learner-centered teaching, the learner-centered approaches. Introduction. Learner-centered teaching focuses on actively involving students in their own learning journey, with the teacher serving as a guide rather than just a source of information. As a teacher, our role is to guide our students as they travel their journey through their study. Okay. Next is abstraction. Learner-centered teaching is an approach to teach that focuses on students learning rather than on what the teacher is doing. By the mean of that, teaching that focuses on students. As a teacher, we focus on teaching our students rather than on what the teaching is doing. Basically, as a teacher, our role is to guide and teach our students and focus on their studying and learning. Okay, then next we'll recognize the characteristic of learner-centered teaching. The first one, learner-centered teaching engage student the hard, messy work learning. It's on any given day. In most classes, teachers are working much harder than students because teacher our role is to motivate our students to learn. We we um we think an ideas. We work hard um, to teach our students. That's why the students engage the hard messy work learning. For this, as a teacher, we must get our student or to teach student a hard messy work learning so they can activate their full potential or they learn more. Okay. Then next will be 2. Learner-centered teaching include explicit instruction. Learner-centered teachers teach a student how to think, solve problems, evaluate evidence, analyze arguments, generate hypotheses. All learning skills essential to mastering in a discipline. By the mean of that, teachers teach students how to think. During brainstorming, as a teacher, we make a lesson or a group activity that involve um, brainstorming. It's under how to teach them how to think. To think and then to solve problems, cooperate with their group, share ideas. That's why we, as a teacher, we make an activity or a group activity so that they can involve brainstorming. Okay. Next will be number 3. Learner-centered teaching encourages students to reflect on what they are learning and how they are learning it. They challenge students' assumption about learning and encourage them to accept responsibility for decisions that make about learning, like how they study for exam, when they do assigned reading, whenever they revise their writing, or to check their answer. By the mean of that, learner-centered encourage students to reflect. By the mean of that, they challenge the students or they challenge the student to think and to react and to make creativity. By the mean of that, like how they study for exam. Teacher teaching encourage student to reflect. It makes to develop their thinking processing or their like meta-cognitive or cognitive thinking, like that. So they will activate their potential or their to learn how they manage the problem they are facing. Like study for exam, they will studying for the exam for their exam. Then assign reading. So teachers encourage students to read every lesson because reading is very important, especially for students. And yes, whenever they revise the writing or check their answer. By the mean of that, whether they revise their writing or check their answer, it means to how they manage or how they accomplish or their essay or let's say a paragraph, their reflection paper. If they have something wrong about their activities. So as a teacher, we engage them or encourage them to solve this kind of problem. Okay, next will be number 4. Learner-centered teaching motivates students by giving them some control over learning process. Example, learning-centered teachers search out ethically responsible way to share power with students. So by the mean of that, teachers motivate students by giving them some control over learning process. It means the teacher give some give the students some control on how they learn their lesson, their activities given by the teachers. So learners search out ethically responsible way to share power with students. So as a teacher, we share our knowledge to them. We share some techniques on how they study for the exam, study for their quizzes. Like we give them the power. Our power we give to the students like that. So next will be number 5. Learner-centered teaching encourage collaboration. So learner-centered teachers work to develop structures that promote shared commitment to learning. Yes, like I said earlier, as a teacher, we give our knowledge to them, or our how we learn, then we share to them like that. So learners and teacher work to develop structure that promote shared commitment to learning. So by this encourage collaboration, I think as a teacher, we teach our students on how they collaborate with us, and how we collaborate with them. So our classes or during our classes, all of our students engage learning on how to learn to collaborate, to engage collaboration. Like I said in earlier the number 1, as a teacher we engage we make group activity. So from that group activity, teachers make students to brainstorming, thinking, problem solving, and etc. And that's what the collaboration it involves from them. Yes, like that collaboration, especially group activity, collaboration is a must. So the group will work efficiently. Yes, so that's all. The next reporter will report letter B, paradigm shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered learning. That's all.
Good day, Coach Jude. This is Yasha Rubia from Study Hub 2, number 2. And today, my assigned topic is about the paradigm shift from teacher-centered teaching to learner-centered teaching. The way we see things has a huge impact in our lives. The shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered teaching facilitated the adoption of new particles that is applicable at present. This shift encourages students to develop critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and creativity, making it easier for them to understand and apply new concepts or practices that are relevant in today's world. Instead of merely receiving information, learners engage in meaningful experience that prepared them for real-life challenges. Next is we have the essentialism, a focus on core knowledge and skills. This approach believes in a structured curriculum centered around traditional subjects like reading, writing, mathematics, and science, aiming to provide students with a strong foundation for future success. And for example, a traditional classroom where a teacher delivers structured lessons on subjects like mathematics, science, literatures, and history. The teachers follow a fixed curriculum, ensuring that students master foundational knowledge through lectures, drills, and assessment. For instance, in a math class, students might repeatedly practice solving algebraic equations to develop strong problem-solving skills. Next is we have the perennialism. Focuses on timeless ideas and ensuring truths. This approach believes in a curriculum centered around classic works of literature and philosophy and science, aiming to develop critical thinking and a deep understanding of human nature. For example, a university philosophy course that focuses on the writings of Aristotle, Confucius, and St. Thomas Aquinas is an example of perennialism. The professor emphasizes that these philosophical ideas, such as ethics, logic, and nature of reality, are timeless and should be studied and applied to modern life. The course does not focus on contemporary trends but instead on fundamental human questions that remain relevant regardless of era or culture.
Good day, Coach Jude. I'm Maybelline Saavedra from Study Hub 2, number 3. So now, I'm going to discuss to you about the learner-centered philosophies. So there are 3 philosophies under learner-centered. We have the progressivism, humanism, and constructivism. So first, we have the progressivism. Progressivism is an educational movement started by John Dewey that says that students learn to their own experiences. Progressivism revolves around the students' need, including teaching students to be good citizens as well as good learners, a concept known as focusing on the whole child. So here in progressivism, students learn in their own experiences. So example here, if the school conducted a program that is all about cleaning the surroundings or the school, so students will participate in that program, and by that, students will realize that they must clean their surroundings for a betterment of the environment. So the next philosophy we have humanism. Humanism is a progressive philosophy of life that without theism or other supernatural beliefs affirms our ability and responsibility to lead ethical lives of personal fulfillment that aspire to the greater good. So here in humanism, it is more about the own self or oneself of the child of the learners. So it is important to consider their feelings and also their behaviors. It is more about making decisions. Humanism is also about making decisions and also control their behaviors so that it may result a good outcome for their learners. So the next philosophy we have the constructivism. Constructivism is a learning theory that states that people build their own knowledge through their experiences and interaction with others. So here in constructivism, people build their own knowledge through their experiences, same as the progressivism. But constructivism also people learn through interaction with others. So example here, if the learners will interact with the other learners, they may share their own knowledge or experiences. By that they will learn something new for themselves. So in this teacher-centered learning and also the learner-centered learning are important because we all know that the primary source of knowledge is in the hands of the teachers. But it is more important also to consider the learning of the students, if they really learn or if they have interest in the class. So by that, it may result a good outcome for the learning in the classroom environment. So number 2, we have the supporting research. I have an article here entitled "The Impact of Learner-Centered Teaching on Students' Learning Skills and Strategies." So in this article, students become responsible on their own learning by giving them the chance to explore and be engaged in their own learning process. With this, the study investigates and analyzes the impact of learner-centered teaching English classes on students' learning skills and strategies in relation to extent of implementation of learner-centered teaching in the classroom. The study was conducted to all English teachers and select first year to fourth year high school students. There were 10 teachers and 900 students considered as respondents of this study. There were 3 visitations conducted for each teacher with a total of 30 classroom observations. So the research methodology, we have the researcher and the vice principal for academic observe the classes using the learner-centered teaching checklist. The students also rated their respective teachers on their own observation of the level of learner-centered teaching implemented in the classroom. So the findings of this research is that using regression analysis, it was found out that there was an impact on learner-centered teaching to students' learning skills and strategies, which was highly significant. This implies that the more learner-centered the teacher is, the more learning skills and strategies are developed among the students. So based on the findings, it is more about how teacher must be a learner-centered in a classroom, because the more they will prioritize the learnings of the students, the more it will give a good impact for the students to develop their skills. Teachers also learn some or different strategies for the students to learn. So number 3, we have the resistance to change, managing the shift. It is human nature to counteract any changes, but change is inevitable. The reason why people resist to change is because it's not easy transition, and there is a fear of the unknown. Students resist learner-centered approaches for a variety of reasons. So there are 4 most common reasons students resist learner-centered approaches. First, we have learner-centered approaches are more work. These approaches are more work for faculty who now face complex instructional design issues, but the students resist because they quickly realize that this means more work for them as well. So number 2, we have learner-centered approaches are more threatening. Students also resist these approaches because they are afraid. The teacher has opened Pandora's box and let out all sorts of unknown and unfamiliar policies. So number 3, we have learner-centered approaches involve losses. Clause 1994 points out that whenever you move from one level of understanding to another, something is lost. We, as teachers, need to remember that growth creates a sense of loss. In students, the loss of certainty that has sustained them and been a refuge in an increasingly complex and confusing world. So last, we have the learner-centered approaches may be beyond students. If teachers are unfair to students and unethical or ask students to engage in ethically compromised behavior, then we should hope that students would resist despite the past that they may do so and some personal risk. So next we have the faculty resistance. Students are not the only ones who resist these approaches. Some colleagues and administrators will object as well. Their resistance will be just as disheartening. It might be professionally threatening too. So next we have the sources of faculty resistance. The objective of the colleagues raised come primarily from the sources. They object because they find the approaches enormously threatening. Learner-centered approaches test a teacher level of confidence. So there are strategies in dealing with faculty resistance. Number 1, we have be mindful of the politics. Number 2, use the autonomy of your classroom. Number 3, do not seek to convert the masses or MASSAS. Number 4, document the impact of your approaches. Number 5, find like-minded colleagues.
Hello, I'm JBM Matrido, a member of Study Hub 2. I will be report about the dimension of learner-centered teaching. The function of content. In addition to building a knowledge based on the content, facilitate student to build an appreciation for value of contents. Means to developing an understanding of how important and beneficial content can be. It involves recognizing not just information or entertainment it provides, but also its potential to educate, inspire, and impact people. It also implies acknowledging the effort and throughput into creating meaning content, whether it's written, visual, or multimedia. Essential, it's about learning to see content as available resources rather than just something to consume passively. Build discipline-specific learning methodologies. It refers to the process of developing and implementing teaching and learning strategies tailored to a specific field of or subject area. In the words, it involves creating instructional approaches that the best suit for the unique requirements of concept and skills, particular disciplines such as science, math, history, or the arts. The goal is ensure that methods used align with how students in the fields learn most effectively incorporating practices, tools, and frameworks that support deeper understanding and mastery of the subject. This could involve adjusting assessment types, learning activities, and delivery styles to fit discipline needs. Practice using inquiry ways of thinking in the discipline. The practice of using inquiry or ways of thinking and discipline refers to the process of actively engaging the questioning, investigation, and reasoning to deepen understanding within specific fields of study. This involves using methods, tools, and frameworks that are characteristic of that discipline to explore concepts, solve problems, and generate new knowledge. Learn to solve real problems. It refers to the process of acquiring skills and knowledge to address actual challenges or situations involves face of the world. This involves applying theoretical concepts and ideas to practical everyday problems rather than just focusing on abstract or hypothetical scenarios. Students engage in the most of the content to make it their own student make meaning out of the content. We say student engage with the most content to make of their own, and student make meaning out of their content. It means that students are not just passively receiving information, but actively interacting with it, reflecting on it, and connecting to their own experiences, prior knowledge, and personal interests. The content can help students develop an organized framework or way to learn in their disciplines. It means that the knowledge and skills students gain from the subject matter can guide them in structuring their thinking and learning process in a systematic and effective way within the field. Content is a frame so that students see how it can be applied in the future. It refers to an educational approach that emphasizes the practical relevance and future applicability of the learning material. In other words, the content is presented in a way that helps students understand how the concepts, skills, and knowledge they're acquiring can be used in real-life situations, careers, or future endeavors. The role of the structure. The structure creates an environment that fosters student learning. It refers to an educational approach that creates a supportive and nurturing environment to promote student academic growth and development. Accommodates different learning style. It refers that educational approach that recognizes and caters to the diverse way in which students learn and process information. Explicitly aligns objective teaching methods and assessment consistently. It refers to a teaching approach that ensures a clear and logical connection between utilize multiple teaching techniques approaches to students' learning goals. It refers to approach employs to a variety structure and strategies to help students achieve in their learning objectives. Design objectives in which students interact with the materials, and teacher and each other. It refers to a teaching approach that emphasizes students' engagement, collaboration, and social learning. And lastly, the motivates students to intrinsically. It refers to the teaching approach that encourages students to develop a genuine interest in learning for its own sake rather than just external rewards or pressure. Who should take responsibility for learning? Students have responsibility for, one word say, it's all learning. Students have lots of responsibilities when it comes to promoting and supporting learning, and we can do all sort of things that facilitate the process, but at the end of the day, it's the student who have to learn the content. While teachers play a crucial role in facilitating learning, ultimately, the individual learners should take primary responsibility for their own learning. This means actively engaging with the materials, managing their study habits, and taking ownership of their progress. And that's all my report for today. And thank you for listening to my report.
Good day, Coach Jude. I am John J. Asjo. Today I'm going to report about dimensions of learner-centered teaching. Dimensions of learner-centered teaching, the purpose and the processes of assessment. There are additional purposes and processes of assessment beyond assigning grades. The balance of power. The balance of power shifts so that the teachers share some decision about the course with the students. Learner-centered teaching is all about putting the student at the heart of the learning process.